Welcome to Stabilizing the Mind meditation, brought to you by Her Eminence Jetsama Akon Lamo and Krensang Pao Chuling, a Buddhist temple in the Vajrayana tradition. We'll begin with 3 repetitions of the 7-line prayer, which will appear on your screen. Hung organ yogi nup chang sam Pema ge sardon pola Yatsen chogi ngorumne Pema june she sudrag Kordu kandro mangpokor Kiet ki jesu dag druki Shinji lob chir shek so Guru pema siddhi hung Organ yogi lup chang sam Pema ye sardam pola Yatsan chogi ngodrubne Pema june she sudrag Kordu kandro mangpokor Kiet ki jesu dag druki Chinji lob chir shek so Guru pema siddhi hung Organ yogi nup chang sam Pema ge sardon pola Yatsen chogi ngodrubne Pema june she sudrag Kordu kandro mangpokor Kiet ki jesu dag druki Chinji lob chir shek so Guru pema siddhi hung Organ yogi nup chang sam Pema ge sardon pola Yatsen chogi ngodrubne Pema june she sudrag Kordu kandro mangpokor Kiet ki jesu dag druki Chinji lob chir shek so Guru pema siddhi hung. Here at KPC and in many Vajrayana Buddhist communities, we begin almost everything, if not everything, with the 7-line prayer. Its blessing is vast, and it helps us to prepare our minds for whatever activity we are about to engage in. So it's a plus. If you're not Buddhist, of course you don't have to chant along, but the Buddha doesn't care if you're Buddhist or not, so it doesn't make any difference. We're just glad you're here. This is the text, Stabilizing the Mind, a meditational technique to develop spaciousness in the mind by Her Eminence. The beginning is definitely for beginners, I would say the first 7 chapters. And then after that, she gives us a few more advanced techniques. So if you feel like you're ready to try something like that, if you don't have a copy of the book, you might want to get one and check it out. This class is designated for beginning meditators. And I have to tell you, I have been meditating for a long time, but I still consider myself a beginner. So I don't know whether that means that I'm slow or disabled in some way, or just that our minds are so creatively busy that it's really hard to even slow them down, let alone give them some time to just rest in what the lamas call the state of natural awareness. And it is where we could be all of the time, not be asleep, not be, spaced out somewhere, but totally 100% aware of everything like the Buddhas are. In which case we would be a Buddha also, which is totally possible. Possible for every sentient being on the planet, even the creepy crawlies. We all have the same Buddha seed. And it's just waiting for us to find it, explore it, discover it, and release it. Open it up, let it be present. Because most of what we do kind of squashes it down. So, if you were here last week, you know we had difficulty with our sound effects. So I brought it back up today. It's not ideal, but just so you know what to listen for. Okay? And we will use it if we need to. Just so you know. And then you won't be surprised, because you won't be expecting a big gong. You'll know exactly what's going to happen, which is kind of unusual, because in our life we often don't know exactly what's going to happen. We are totally not prepared. We expect this thing to happen, and instead we get this, or nothing, or whatever, And we spent a lot of time working up to sort of be receptive of that event, whatever it might be, good or bad. And we've been fretting over it or being excited over it. And we expended all this energy, and it didn't happen. And what we have instead is a big empty spot and a lot of disappointment. Or if it was a bad thing we expected and it didn't happen, and good and bad are relative, as always, and it didn't happen, and maybe we're relieved, and that takes up the rest of our day. That relief or that excitement takes up the rest of our day, which perpetuates the same thing to happen again, and again, and again, and again. So we are on this roller coaster, I don't know which way it goes. One way or the other it goes. But it does go, and it goes up, then it plummets down, and it goes up again, and it plummets down again. And here we are, going up and down, expending all this energy on things that never even happened. Yes, we can have things we look forward to or things that we dread. But we need to be able to turn off when it's over. And we're not really good at that, and that's one of the things meditation helps us to do. And it takes a while because, as I have said many times, we are on our feet thinking at least 16 hours a day. And for the other 8, if we sleep that long or even longer, everything's still working. We're not aware of it, but it's on a conscious level, but it's still working. So we never give ourselves time to rest, and in addition to that, we are causing our habitual tendencies of the 5 poisons, hatred, greed, ignorance, jealousy, and pride, to root themselves even more deeply in our mind streams. And that's what causes all our problems, really. So that's something to think about. If you disagree, you can. I'm only saying what the Buddha said. And he's not here for you to disagree with him today. So I think about that in terms of your meditation as well. It might be a waste of expended energy to disagree with the Buddha. So let's talk about the posture, because it's important. It is, our bodies in this instance are, as in many others actually, our toolbox. And if we sit as best we can in the 7-point posture, that will help us to meditate better and more deeply. And in addition, overcome those 5 habitual poisonous tendencies that we carry around with us, ready at any moment to be released for any reason or no reason sometimes. So, we're sitting either in a chair or on the floor with our legs crossed. If we're in a chair, our feet are flat on the floor. We don't want to cross our legs at the knees or at the ankles. We just have them flat. When we cross our legs, it can stop the energy from moving or just make a confusion in our body. So we don't want our bodies to be confused because we want them to be as relaxed as possible also. So our feet are flat on the floor or legs crossed. Make sure your cushion is comfortable and adjust accordingly. You may outgrow your cushion. Just as a sidebar here, I have outgrown my cushion that I use sometimes when my body's feeling pretty good. And so don't be surprised if that happens either. The spine is straight as we can manage. There are psychic energies that move up and down the spine that help us to increase that awareness, that awakening, and we want to allow that energy to flow as freely as we possibly can. So the spine is straight all the way up through the top of the head. So that's I have bad posture and my head does like this. So I have to really consciously be aware of pulling my chin in so that straight spine is there. The jaw is relaxed and the lips and the teeth do not touch. So the mouth is slightly open. We're breathing normally. Our eyes are open. Perhaps you want to focus down so you can limit your field of vision to avoid distractions. Now, distractions cannot be totally avoided because you can't. I mean, you have air conditioners now clicking on and off, and even if you have central air, there still is a motor turning on somewhere that most likely you can hear. Also, it's possible that you have tuned it out because you're accustomed to it, but once you sit down to meditate, everything's going to be a distraction. Possibly. I don't want to create anything for you that you don't have or you've already overcome. Just to be aware. If you live on a street, you'll have traffic sounds. If you live between two airports, you'll have airplane sounds. If you live near animals, you'll have animal sounds. If you live with other people, you'll have people sounds. And in order to not be distracted by these things, we have to deepen in our meditation and also be aware of the particular technique that we're doing, aware when our mind drifts off, whether it's a sensory thing or an emotional thing or whatever it might be, a physical thing, to bring it back. And because our breath is stable, we can rely on it. We use the breath. So when those thoughts arise, oftentimes we're not aware of them right away. That's normal. So this is not a situation where we as high achievers, say, I gotta get this right. That will totally defeat the purpose. You want to be relaxed, let it come up, whatever it is, a feeling, a thought, whatever, and just let it move on. Don't grasp it. Just let it go. And actually, of all the things of meditation, that probably is the hardest one. Because we can accommodate our bodies somehow so that we can sit comfortably as best we can in the posture. But the mind, it's used to having its own way. It's used to coming and going at will about whatever it chooses. And it will continue to do that until we train it otherwise. And that's what we're doing with meditation. We are training it otherwise. So, check your posture. Make sure, if you have a chair with the back straight, you can probably lean back although the text says to sit forward on your chair, so the only part of your body that's touching anything is the back of your thighs. So you have a choice. You can sit if you need that support, or if you were sitting on a cushion, you wouldn't have that support, but your body would be perfectly aligned, so the vertebrae rest like a stack of quarters, one on top of the other. And that hopefully would be a comfortable posture to sit in. So we will take 3 deep breaths together. We'll try the gong that we've been using, and if it doesn't, we're going to do a long session with a break in the middle for us to bring our minds back to our breath, take another deep breath if we need to, and come right back to our meditation. And so if the gong doesn't work, this is what you will hear. Does that sound come through, honey? It's loud enough?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So that's what you'll hear. And whatever sound you hear, any sound you hear, whether it's from in this room or your neighborhood or outdoor somewhere, whatever you hear that distracts you, just come back to your breath. Don't struggle, don't judge yourself, don't name yourself as a good or a bad practitioner. Doesn't matter. Just focusing on the breath, bring it back, start again. Okay? So let's see what kind of sound effects we have today. Okay, so take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. And let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. And let it out slowly. Now allow your breath to assume a normal rhythm. Make sure you're breathing all the way into your belly. And begin. Okay, come back gently. And the second meditation that we do is the Tibetan word is Tonglen. It means sending and receiving. And so this one's a little bit different in that our focus is external, not internal. And the focus changes, although when you do the practice on your own at home, you don't have to change. You can keep your same visualization the whole time, however long you have to practice. So we go through several steps, whatever you want to call them. We'll start with ourselves. And what we are doing is we are sending light, or you can think of it as positive energy. And we're sending it out with our breath. On the exhalation, we're sending it out. And then on the inhalation, we're taking in the dark light or the negative energy. And we're doing this we begin with ourselves, then we choose a loved one, or someone we care about. It could be an individual, it could be an animal. They're sentient beings too, and they suffer and feel happiness just like we do. So that's good. Then we want to do someone with whom we have an antagonistic relationship. Maybe we don't feel comfortable around them, or somehow, even if we start out comfortable, after a while it just goes bad. I don't know. We have all kinds of relationships. But someone with whom we have difficulty. And we're sending them positive energy and taking in their darkness, whatever is causing the difficulty between us, or whatever is causing their particular state of mind, I guess. Whatever we, do that over. We are not specifically, when we do this practice, we are not specifically looking for a particular outcome. We have no control over the outcome. So if you are meditating for any one of these different kinds of foci, no expectations. No expectations, because there's always more than one option for every situation. And we might not be able to think of it, but it's there. And if we have expectations, we're interfering with the process. And the process can end or result in something very positive that we never even conceived of. So no expectations, no afterward, like, I did this meditation for you, but nothing happened. We're not going there. It's just like the other meditation. You sit down, you do it, you get up, you live your life. And if you have the patience to hang in with the Tonglen, with whoever your focus is, you will eventually see result. And you may be surprised, but the result may be on your end. Something about your perception has changed so that you can view things differently and be comfortable with them. So we have ourself, a loved one, a not so loved one, or someone with whom we have difficulty. That can be the same person. People in relationships have bumpy times. Then someone we don't know well enough to either feel good about or feel uncomfortable with. And sometimes those are hard to find because we don't have to have much interaction with somebody to make a judgment about them, either about the way they look or whatever. So do the best you can with that one. And then the last one is a group of some kind, whether it's a family group, an organization, a group of colleagues from either school or work, or it could be a country, there are lots of places that are having lots of difficulties, or a state, like Vermont, and you just choose wherever your heart takes you, because you'll be able to sit with that one and pay attention. And you may not have any result after one day. Hang in there with it. Give it a chance. Give it some time. Because when we see result, then we have a feeling of accomplishment and we are inspired to continue. And either one of these meditations can help us to accomplish beyond what we think is possible. So, again, the posture is the same. So check your posture, make sure you're sitting with your spine straight, legs crossed, feet flat on the floor, wherever you are, chin pulled in. This time we are focusing on breathing through the nose, and for each of those changes, you'll create for yourself a visualization. And as we breathe out, our visualization will appear to be satisfied and content. And as we breathe in, taking in the darkness, the negative energy, in our visualization, that being or group will appear to be happy. So that making the visualization a little bit more specific maybe will help as well. So first one is self. And I think we have a pretty good idea of where we are and who we think we are and how we look. And so we want to establish that, even ourselves as a visualization, establish that. And as we begin, exhale and see ourselves filling with light and positive energy. And then inhaling as the darkness or the negative energy is transformed. And begin. And next is a loved one. Next, someone with whom we have conflict. Next, a neutral relationship. And finally, a group. Gently bring yourself back. So, when you practice at home, if you do both meditations, depending on the time, what I try to do is 7 rounds. A round is one exhalation and inhalation, 7 times for each one. Or choose one if you don't have time, or choose one and do more. There's any number of ways you can practice the Tonglen. It's all beneficial to you and to whomever you're practicing, whoever your focus is with. So, and don't be surprised if you encounter change. So, but don't expect it either. That's the trick. That's the trick. Okay, so we'll do some closing prayers. They'll appear on your screen. Throughout my many lives and until this moment, whatever virtue I have accomplished, including the merit generated by this practice, and all that I will ever attain, this I offer for the welfare of sentient beings. May sickness, war, famine, and suffering be decreased for every being, while their wisdom and compassion increase in this and every future life. May I clearly perceive all experiences to be as insubstantial as the dream fabric of the night, and instantly awaken to perceive the pure wisdom display in the arising of every phenomenon. May I quickly attain enlightenment in order to work ceaselessly for the liberation of all sentient beings. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas all together, whatever kind of motivation you have, whatever kind of beneficial action, whatever kind of wishing prayers, whatever kind of omniscience, whatever kind of life accomplishment, whatever kind of benevolent power, and whatever kind of immense wisdom you have, similarly I, who have come in the same way to benefit beings, pray to attain these qualities. By this effort, may all sentient beings be free of suffering. May their minds be filled with the nectar of virtue. In this way, may all causes resulting in suffering be extinguished, and only the light of compassion shine throughout all realms. So thank you so much for meditating with us today. If you haven't checked out KPC Buddhist Relief, please do. You can find it on Facebook, you can find stuff on YouTube, you can find information at our website, tara.org. It's huge. We are helping an enormous amount of people, and perhaps you'd like to help too. We hope so. We could use all the help we can get. There's a lot of folks in need out there right now. So have a good day, stay cool, stay healthy, and come back.